What is up, guys? Captain Wet here with another video guide. Today we're going to be covering the different monsters in the Frost Abyss, the map located after the ice caverns. If you find anything in this guide helpful, feel free to drop a like on the video and a subscribe for more content, and we're going to get into the video. To start off, we're going to go over the way to get into the Abyss. Some people still don't know their way down there quite yet. It's quite simple. The way you get down into the Abyss is to simply wait until roughly 3 to 4 minutes remaining in the raid in the ice caverns. Go to one of these two modules, and anywhere that there is a cliff that you can fall off of into the void, so long as you wait until around that time, you'll see there's a red shimmer at the bottom of it. That means you're good to go to jump on in. And once you hit the bottom, you'll be matched into the Abyss. I'm going to break this guide up into kind of two sections. The first is going to be all of the different skeletons you'll fight, including the nightmare variants in the Abyss, and then we'll cover everything else from the spiders and demons and ghosts that you'll find after that. Whether it's a normal or a nightmare crossbow skeleton, they all do the exact same attacks. They're quite easy to dodge. You just wait for their shots, move to the side, and then go in to punish. Frost skeleton archers are the same as they are in the ice caverns. However, the nightmare variant has an additional move where he fires a cone of 3 arrows at once. If you need to dodge these at afar, you can strafe like you normally would. Just keep in mind that that triple shot, you can't strafe too far to the side or you'll run into a different arrow. The easiest way to defeat the nightmare frost skeleton archer is to try to get behind a pillar of some kind nearby and bait out the third shot, and then enter into his melee range to bait out his attack. Once he's locked into melee, he's very easy to punish and defeat, so just find something that they get behind and then bait the attacks. Just don't overcommit, as they have a lot more health as a nightmare variant. The Frost Skeleton Footman is the same in the Abyss in the Elite version. However, the Nightmare variant has a new 2-attack combo he can do, where he starts with the vertical chop and then slowly follows up with a reverse vertical chop. You can dodge these guys just by ducking and being to their right side and then moving out of the way from the second one, or just simply backing up from either attacks. Punish afterwards, they have a long wait between the two, and keep back from the attacks to make sure you don't get any slows. A reminder from the Ice Caverns video, every form of Frost Skeleton provides a slow every time they hit you. The Frost Skeleton Halbardier is one of the most common enemies you'll find in the Abyss. They have two different attacks, a lunging stab as well as a circling strike. The lunging stab you can duck, or you can try to just back or move to the side of. If you duck, make sure you're not too close, as it can still hit you. The sweeping circling attack, all you have to do is jump. The further you are to their right, the lower the attack will be, so the less you have to jump. The nightmare variants of these guys are not any different. They just attack and move much quicker. Be cautious of catching too many other enemies around these guys at the same time, as ducking is one of the things you have to do to dodge these guys, which doesn't really apply to many other things in the Abyss. The Nightmare Skeleton Guardsman has 5 different attacks they can do. There is a slow winding lunge attack that they do. They have a upward jab attack they do. They have a diagonal chop they do. They have a return attack. If you hit their shield, they will shield bash. And then they also have a combo that they do where they start with a vertical chop and then follow into a second swing. One thing to watch out for when fighting these guys, if they do that vertical overhead chop, to always back up for the second swing. If you are trying to guard these guys instead of dodging them, it's quite easy to do. You just put the shield wherever their hand is going to be about. And if you are dodging them, just always move back. Most of their attacks are quite slow. The only thing you have to anticipate is that second swing when you go in for an attack. Outside of that, you can kind of just backstep these guys in most classes and then punish afterwards. The Frost Skeleton Maceman can be quite a challenge to deal with initially. They have quite a dodgeable attack. All you have to do is leap back and jump. However, the tricky part between them is that they have 2 different kinds of attacks they do, both that look identical. One is a single swipe forward, where the second is kind of a wind up where they take a large stride forward with the swing. The easiest way to dodge these guys is to continuously move back and wait out their attacks, then go in and not overcommit when you don't know if they're doing a long range attack or not. The Nightmare Frost Skeleton Axeman can be quite daunting at first. He's quite scary, but all you have to do to dodge this guy is simply move to the side of him. It's easier to move to the right side, however you can also, with enough gap, move to the left. One of the more difficult parts of this enemy is that if they hit once, they will continue their combo and continue to swing, making it very hard to get away, especially with the slow. Another thing that can catch you off guard with this enemy is if they hit a dead body on the ground or another enemy, it will also continue their combo. And if you have a shield up, they'll also continue their combo if you try to block the attack. The easiest way to defeat these guys is to simply rotate to their right, punish them when you have an opportunity to, and then rotate to the right again. Moving on past the skeletons, the first enemy we're going to come to is the ice spider. These guys are very easy to deal with, not much harder than mummy spiders. However, when they die, there is a chance they will begin to glow and then pop and explode, dealing damage all around them. The giant ice spider has a lot of room to cause a lot of issues despite being a very simple mob. They only have 2 attacks they do, a forward stab and a lunge after they leap back. However, when they do their leaps back, they leave spider webs on the ground that slow very, very heavily for a good amount of time. The easiest way to get rid of these guys is to stab them back up in case they are to lunge, but just make sure you give yourself enough room to get out of the way of the spider webs if you need to. The Frostwalker is very similar to a mummy or zombie to deal with. These guys only have 1 attack, and it's a swipe attack. It's quite easy to deal with. The only other thing they could do is once they're at about half health, they can begin to summon up some gas like they were a zombie. However, this only applies around themselves and puts a chilling slow if you're in their vicinity. The chill also deals damage, so you want to deal with it as quickly as you can when you're stuck inside of it. The Frost Sentinel has 2 different attacks they can do. They have an attack where they can leave a little runic circle on the ground that deals slows and ice damage if you're far away from them, but if you also get in close, they have a second wind blast attack that they do that can knock you back and deal heavy damage. They can only do 1 of these different attacks at a time based on how close you are, and the Nightmare variant can do 3 runic circles rather than 1 compared to the normal variant. The best way to deal with these guys is to get in close and attack them once, then back off, getting them locked in their close range attack combo, making it very easy to kite in and out of their range even if you are a slower character. These guys are fairly simple, but you do want to deal with them first if possible, because if they can get the slow effect on the ground, they can be a problem with other mobs nearby. The Frozen Ghost has 3 different attacks it can do. It can throw an ice ball, it's just a simple projectile to dodge. It can screech and make ice appear on the ground that does slows and damage over time if you stand in it. And then the third thing is a retreating attack that it does after being hit where it flies away, making a gap between the player and it. The easiest way to deal with these guys is just to be mindful of the ice, continuing to rotate around the room and avoid them, and then moving to the side to strafe from any of the ice balls. You can also catch these guys on any kind of pillars or doorways, and it makes it very easy to deal with. The Harpies can be quite a difficult enemy to deal with at first. They have 3 different moves that they can do: a forward lunging kick, a wind blast, and the Nightmare variant specifically also have a tumble roll kick they can do. The easiest way to defeat these guys is to simply rotate around them and hit them from the side after they kick, and whenever they go to do a laugh, you stand perfectly still in the middle of it. If you do move off to the side, you can kind of correct yourself to the center of them, but you don't want to be too close or too far away when this blast hits. Something to be mindful of is that this will hit teammates even if it's not directed at them, and it can also go through walls and doorways. Nothing obstructs the wind blast. At the time of recording this, I'm still not exactly sure what triggers them to do a tumble kick. Sometimes I can kite them for minutes at a time and they won't do it. Other times they will combo together multiple times rapidly. It seems to have something to do with the spacing though. The easiest way to avoid this is to still just continue to strafe even if it comes off a normal kick. Running into your first Frost Imp can catch people off guard quite quickly. They throw snowballs that when left on the ground will stay and deal damage over time if you step on them. They also have a teleporting move where they usually go behind the player in some way. The safest way to fight them is to just kite left and right and dodge the snowballs, and then keep mind of where they are and try not to backpedal into them, especially when they teleport behind you, as these do high damage. The Nightmare variants of the Imp as well also have an additional move where when they teleport they do an area of effect damage around themselves, and they can combo this together with a snowball for big damage all at once, so be very careful of this attack. When you begin to see frost build up on the ground, back off and make sure you don't get too close, and keep mind of again where the snowballs are, and just keep stabbing away. It does look slightly different from teleporting when they use the move, so you can go in for attacks when they teleport. The Frost Demon only has 2 spawn locations in all of the Abyss. It's good to familiarize yourself with the locations that they're in, because there's a lot of mobs in both of the locations and they're very difficult to deal with nearby enemies. I would kite all of the enemies away from them first and defeat them, and then go in for the demon afterwards. These guys only have 2 basic attacks they do. One where they fire 5 projectiles in a line, and the second where they make a hailstorm come out of the above. These attacks are both relatively easy to dodge. If you can get some kind of height advantage under them, and then crouch, you can always get underneath their ice projectile attack. And the hail always goes in a straight line and does not change direction. So once you see where it spawns, you just move out of the way from it. So again, the easiest way to defeat these guys, just get below them, run up and stab a few times, then whenever they go to shoot their ice projectile, you get down beneath them, and then you get to attack away when they charge up their hail, and then move out of that attack. If you find yourself somehow in a situation where you cannot get out of their attacks or get beneath them for any reason, maybe they get pulled into a different room, another way to defeat these guys is just to abuse walls. You go in from an attack in between each of the hail or each of the projectile attacks, and then get back behind whatever wall you have to hide behind. And then whenever they do hail, the same thing, you just find a position to move away from, and you can drag out of the way. The snowball attack itself can also be blocked by shields. However, it will require a higher impact resistance or just catching the last one, or else you'll get your shield broken and then hit by the following projectile. The Ice Hound is one of the hardest enemies to deal with for slower characters in all of the Abyss. The easiest way to defeat these guys is to just kind of run them, get into their attack range, then bail out of their attack range and let them chase you. You need to make a lot of space to be able to do this. They almost always are in packs of 2, and when they chase after you, they will hit each other along the way, lowering both of their healths as you go. If you have a faster attacking weapon, you can go in for a hit here and there. However, they have very, very good tracking and very wide sweeping hits, making them very hard to dodge while in close range of them. The Nightmare ones, which are the purple fired ones, can attack in a 4 attack combo, where the other ones can all attack in a 3 attack combo. The best bet for these guys is just to go for a single hit on them with melee before moving back and continuing to kite them. And they will just kind of bully each other down, and by the time you kill one of them, the other one should hopefully be already low. If you have a slower attacking weapon, something like a Warmaul, these guys might be very dangerous to fight whatsoever. However, you can get some higher ground over them. None of their attacks, especially in the normal variants, can hit fairly high. When fighting the Wendigo, something to keep in mind is that he's incredibly resistant if you hit him anywhere in his body outside of his heart. There's going to be 2 different main methods of fighting him based on how fast you move. One of them is going to be just to be dodging back to the side, and the other one is to actually dodge his attacks. If you are fast, you can do exactly what I'm doing here, where regardless of which attack he does, I just move back into the side. If you are too slow, you'll have to do a different method though. So the Wendigo has 2 basic forms of attack. He has a charge, and then he has a 2 attack swipe combo. If you're fast, you can wait for whenever he does an attack and then go in for a stab. However, if you're in a slower class or you have a bit of armor on where you can't evade these attacks, you will have to dodge the swipes in other ways. So if you lack the space or the speed to get out of the range of his swipe attacks, the way to dodge these is to instead duck under his right arm and then his left arm, as he will always do the attacks in that exact pattern. So you move left and then you move right while crouched and looking down. And then you do always have to be ready to, after that, if he does a charge attack, move to the side. No matter what way you're fighting him, whenever he does a charge attack, he gets down on his legs, you will have to move to the side to dodge out of that. If you do get a grasp on fighting him this way, it is the easier way to kill them. You'll get more damage in quickly because you're always in his face whenever he ends that combo to get a free attack in, especially if you have a faster attacking weapon where it might make the difference of an extra hit or not. However, both of them are valid ways of fighting them, and just remember, always go for the heart rather than trying to hit anything else. And that's all there is to the Abyss. If you found this guide helpful in any way, feel free to drop a like to help the algorithm do its thing and help me grow. And if you want to see more additional content like this, drop a subscription to find more. If you want to ask any questions live, I stream live on my Twitch every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night, usually around 8 p.m. Eastern. Feel free to stop by and watch any content live and ask any questions. I could try showing you how to do this live if you need it. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day. There's a cloak and dagger, no far and wide. Captain Black, master of rogue in every way. Lurking in the shadows, the last thing that you'll see.